I'll get right to it. I've been reading the book of John. It is the day after New Year's Day. You know, when I reflect on what I learned this last year, I would say the one word I learned has been boundaries. And so I've just made it one of my goals to focus on boundaries this year. So I've been studying John with a Bible study group that I'm a part of. If you know anything about the Bible, then you know that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are all the accounts of the life of Jesus Christ. One thing that I've realized is that Jesus had a lot of boundaries, and he set up his boundaries in multiple different ways. And I don't think, as many times as I have read from the Gospels, which is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, I've not realized how serious Jesus was about his boundaries. So, number one, his boundaries with his family. I think that this is interesting because it's one of the first boundaries that you see that Jesus sets up. The first boundary he sets up is with his family. One account, this one is in John, is when his mother came to ask him to provide wine. When, the wedding party that they were at ran out, his mother said, "We've run out of wine." And I'm Nigerian, and I'm sure there's a lot of cultural minorities that understand that, your mother says, do this, you don't ask questions, you don't say anything, you just do what she asks. You don't even look like you're going to protest. And what's interesting is that Jesus is not rude, although it might seem that way, especially to someone who comes from a culture like mine. He's direct and he's honest and he's clear about what is necessary for him to do and what is extra, what is outside of the call of duty. So he's very direct with his mother, and he says, "It is not my time." What I got from that is having boundaries with your family is not about being rude, and it's not about being timid about it either. It's about being straightforward and honest about, this is not something that I have to do. If I choose to do it, I'm doing it because I'm choosing to do it, not because I'm obligated. Communicating that boundary is necessary. I mean, you might say, well, why can't you just do it and get over it? Keep quiet and just do what you're told. Well, because that depletes your energy. And it also tells the person who is asking you to do something that is outside of your boundary that they can do that again without protest, without resistance. And they will do it again because that's how human beings are set up. They know that they can get something done by putting stress on you. They will continue to do it until you say no, or you let them know, I'm choosing to do this. I do not have to do this. So one thing I've learned just from reading that part of Jesus' story is how important it is that you learn how to communicate with your family. Not just, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. Okay, when you're 16 or 14 or 12, yeah, okay. When you are 23 and 25 and 32, no. Because there's going to come a time where you're going to have a family. And even if you don't, even if somehow you are one of those who has been blessed with the ability to be single and devote yourself to God, you're still devoting yourself and your life to God. So you are going to have to set up boundaries, not just for your sake, but for the sake of your future family, for the sake of your own sanity and energy, and for the sake of your devotion to the purposes of God. You cannot allow people to overstep those boundaries, because now it's not just you. So yeah, it's probably going to be clunky in the beginning. It's going to probably look abrupt, and you might even be called rude. But always check in with the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit will let you know when you're being rude and when you're being direct, and you are not in the wrong. It will let you know, okay, well, you went too far. Okay, well, you didn't go too far, but they're going to have a bad reaction because they're not used to it. Which is difficult, but I think that it's so necessary and so interesting that that account is in the Bible, because he throws in the face of a lot of minority cultures, many cultures that have a don't ask, don't tell when it comes to obeying your parents well into your adulthood, and which is not a bad thing, to have respect for your elders. But I think that what I've noticed in these cultures is that we mistake respect for having no boundaries. And we mistake, heeding the advice or heeding the direction or suggestions of our elders for allowing them to tell us what to do and what direction to go in our life, irregardless of the revelation that God has for our life. I find it interesting that before Jesus even began his ministry officially, the first boundary he really set up was with his mother. And I think that that is on purpose. He was going off to devote himself to a mission that if he had to let go of them to hold on to this mission, he would. And that sounds so harsh, but when you really think about it, Jesus is the bridegroom. When he started his ministry, that was him wooing his bride. He left and cleaved. I think that was necessary, because if Jesus did not put up that boundary, I can't imagine how difficult it would have been for him to do even a quarter, even less than that, of the miracles, of the things that he said. I mean, some of the things that he said sounded insane. And if he was still in this mode of don't ask, don't tell, it's my mom, I do whatever she says, I don't have any boundaries with her, oh my goodness, he would have gotten her in huge trouble, because she would have been so involved in his life. There'd been no boundaries, no delineation between Jesus and his family. So, he would have put her in danger, and also he would have stunted his own ministry. So I realize how important it is to set a boundary first with your family. These are the people who are going to trigger you the most. These are the people who are going to take for granted you the most. These are the people who are going to doubt you the most. So it is important that you don't allow their concern or criticism to get to you to a point where you stunt your own ministry because of it. So that, I think I'm going to spread this over the course of a few videos, because I do think boundaries is going to be something really big for me this year. And there are multiple ways that I see that Jesus has ensured. In his, he was only on this earth for 33 and a half years. And all we have account of really is those 3.5 or so years of his life. And just to see how well he put boundaries between him and his family, him and his friends, him and his followers, him and just people, crowds, him and governmental authority, him and the devil, him and temptation. Jesus was a man of several boundaries that he never allowed people to cross. There are multiple ways that I see that he did this. So I just wanted to share the ways that I've seen that he has done this. I will go into more detail with other videos. But until then, thank you so much for joining me here on my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye.